First and foremost, I would like to introduce the family of victim Mickey Cooper, his brother, Mr. Michael Cooper. Sir, our condolences go out to you and your family. It's an honor to have you here today. Thank you for being here. From the city, I'd like to introduce Victor Gordo, who's our mayor, and our city manager, Miguel Marquez. We also have our city council members, Jess Rivas from District 5 and Justin Jones from District 3. We also have from the Pasadena Police Department, our Chief, Gene Harris, and Deputy Chief Art Shute. Lieutenant Keith Gomez is the lieutenant over the Detectives Robbery Homicide Unit, and he's here and will introduce his team. And now I would like to introduce Victor Gordo, Mayor, for a few words.
Good morning. On behalf of the City of Pasadena, I'd first like to extend condolences to the Cooper family, particularly Michael Cooper, who is here today. As many of you may know, Michael is a native of Pasadena, raised in Pasadena, and attended our local schools. This is particularly the time of year where families should be together. On behalf of residents of Pasadena, I extend my condolences because the Cooper family will have to go through this holiday season without their loved one, Mickey. And that extends to all families of victims of crime. It's particularly during the holidays that families miss their loved ones, want to be with their loved ones, but when they've been subjected to when they've been a victim of crime, that can't happen. So we should do everything that we can to avoid situations like this, and we're committed to helping families such as Mr. Cooper's avoid this type of situation. I'd also like to thank all of the Pasadena Police Department and our officers who always do a tremendous job in resolving these crimes. Chief Harris is here, but the men and women of the Pasadena Police Department have done a tremendous job in bringing the individual who is suspected to be the perpetrator in this situation to account for his acts. And so on behalf of residents of Pasadena, thank you to the Pasadena Police Department and our officers. With that, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Rivas. And if anybody needs Spanish, I'm more than happy to provide that. Does somebody need? Okay. Quiero darle should we do that now? Quiero darle las gracias a todos los oficiales del Departamento de Policía y estamos aquí reconociendo lo que le ha pasado a la familia de Michael Cooper. Desgraciadamente, su hermano Mickey Cooper perdió su vida y queremos estar aquí con la familia y decirle gracias a todos los oficiales del Departamento de Policía. La persona que es responsable por este crimen está en custodia y será responsable por este gran crimen.
Good morning. I'm Jess Rivas, council member for District 5, which is where Washington Park is located. On behalf of all the residents of my district who live around Washington Park and use it most frequently, I'd like to express my gratitude for the speedy work of our police department. This has been a tense and frightening several weeks for us. We know Washington Park to be a safe and inviting place during the daylight hours, but it has been something else at night over these past several weeks. We can all rest easier now knowing that a suspect has been arrested. But that shouldn't stop us from working to improve safety in the park, especially at night. Nor should we stop working to help our unhoused neighbors, who are the most vulnerable in our community, 2 of whom were attacked. We'll be holding a community meeting next Tuesday evening for residents to hear more from the police department about these incidents and how we are working to keep our parks and neighborhoods safe for everyone. And that meeting is going to be on 6:30 on Tuesday evening at Santa Catalina Library, which is located at 999 East Washington. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Councilmember Justin Jones. I represent District 3, which is adjacent to Washington Park. And on behalf of the constituents and residents of District 3 and all of Pasadena, like the mayor said, we extend our thoughts and prayers to Michael Cooper and to the Cooper family. You know, I grew up in Pasadena, and I lived just about half a block away from this park. And I remember, over time, that area has improved significantly. I mean, we got rid of a liquor store that was across the street. I remember oftentimes playing in that park. But recently, residents have expressed their concerns about the activities that's occurring in the park. And so on behalf of my residents, I've reached out to the city manager, and we've talked to the mayor about what we can do to improve the safety. We'll have a community meeting next week. We've also asked to agendize an item to discuss these topics. And to me, like, this is very personal, because when we lose a member of our community, we have to surround the family and we have to provide support. And so to Michael Cooper, you know, our office, the City of Pasadena, is open to help you and to support you through these holiday seasons without your loved one. And we'll always be here to support you and your family. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask one of Pasadena's own, a product of Pasadena, Michael Cooper.
You know, growing up here in Pasadena, that is a park, Washington Park, that my brother and I used to play basketball in the late 60s, all during the 70s and 80s. And the reason that my brother was there, because it was a safe haven for him, a place that he felt that he could be comfortable and safe, and it had been up until that tragic night this has happened. I just want to thank the law enforcement, the Pasadena police, all these detectives here, the Mayor Gordo, Captain Harris, as well as the lieutenant that handled my brother's case to help bring our family a little bit of closure. Yes, we're going to miss Mickey, but I like to feel that he's in a better place. My brother had an addiction that he just couldn't shake. Over the last year, we tried to get him a lot of help. He may have appeared homeless, but he wasn't. He had a very home up in Pasadena, my grandmother's house. I tried to bring my brother to my house several times, but that's still not a reason for him not to go to that park, go to sleep, and come up and find himself in this situation. So again, thank you. A big hearty thank you to the Pasadena police. I've always been a resident here, a community person here for 68 years, and now I find myself standing here. But I stand not alone, I stand with the police department and the rest of the productive people in our society. You know, I've gone from a major high at this point. I remember back in the 80s when we won, we had a championship parade here, and now I stand at this point here, but I still have the support and the love of the Pasadena Police Department, the mayor, and the City of Pasadena with me. I will refer any questions to me. I want to direct them to the lieutenant that was in charge of the case. I just want to thank you for coming out, and thank you, Mayor.
Next, I'd like to invite Lieutenant Gomez to come up.
Good morning. I'm Keith Gomez. I am the lieutenant in charge of the Pasadena Police Department's robbery homicide unit. Before I get into details about Mickey's murder, on behalf of the police department and specifically the robbery homicide unit, we also want to tell Mr. Cooper and your family that our heartfelt sympathy and condolences go to your family. The prayers and the support will continue despite this case being solved. Excuse me. We are here for your family, and that will continue. November 18th, 2023, at 4:10 a.m., the Pasadena Police Department responded to Washington Park. It's located at 700 East Washington Boulevard in response to a ShotSpotter gunshot detection alert. Upon arrival, patrol officers located a victim down in the park, suffering from gunshot wounds. The male, identified as Mickey Cooper, was unresponsive and sadly pronounced deceased at the scene. Pasadena PD robbery homicide detectives were contacted. They responded into work to commence immediate follow-up investigation. Only a few hours after the homicide, these detectives standing behind me identified a person of interest. Based on the totality of the circumstances, the homicide detectives believed that the suspect or this person of interest was an immediate threat to the community and organized an arrest operation utilizing the U.S. Marshals, Pacific Southwest Fugitive Task Force, members of the PPD SWAT team, and members of the PPD K-9 team. The arrest operation was successful, and Aaron Miguel Connell was taken into custody without incident. Mr. Connell was booked for an assault with a deadly weapon involving a firearm. It was an unrelated and different crime than the murder of Mickey Cooper. Detectives executed multiple search warrants at a couple residences, and we recovered a firearm, a 9mm semi-automatic firearm that we believe was used in not only the murder of Mickey Cooper, but other violent crimes that occurred in Pasadena over the last several weeks. Detectives continued, following the booking of Mr. Connell, continued their methodical follow-up investigation and spent the entire weekend following investigative leads, and ultimately obtained enough information and enough evidence to amend the booking to Penal Code Section 187, murder. And Mr. Connell was charged with the murder of Mickey Cooper. On November 21st, 2023, the case was presented to the LA County District Attorney's Office. The District Attorney's Office filed murder charges, Penal Code Section 187, for the murder of Mickey Cooper, Penal Code Section 664-187, attempted murder for a shooting that occurred at Washington Park on October 29th, and Penal Code Section 245, subsection B, assault with a semi-automatic firearm that occurred on November 5th at a gas station near Washington and Catalina. Bail is currently set at $4,025,000, and that's what I have so far. There are other crimes. I will say that there are other crimes that we are currently investigating, 2 to be specific, that we believe Aaron Connell is also responsible for. As soon as we verify some information and get some information back from our criminal lab, we hopefully will be pursuing additional charges. So what we know is there's no definitive motive for the murder of Mickey Cooper or the shooting that occurred a couple weeks prior. All we can tell is that Aaron Connell is diabolically evil, and that seems to be the only motive that we've come up with so far. There are no connection between the victims, and there's no connection between the victim and Aaron Connell. Sure, so on November 5th, 2023, in the evening hours, there was an incident at a gas station up in the area of Washington and Catalina. During that incident, Aaron Connell exited a vehicle and approached the driver of another vehicle and put a firearm to his head. There were no shots exchanged or no shots fired during that incident, but that incident was documented as an assault with a deadly weapon involving a firearm. October 29th, 2023, shortly after 2 a.m., officers from the Pasadena Police Department responded to Washington Park regarding a ShotSpotter gunshot detection alert. Upon arrival, they located a victim down with a life-threatening gunshot wound. And so those crimes are for sure connected to Aaron Connell. The crimes are not connected to each other in the sense that there is no definitive motive as to why he was selecting these victims. All the victims in these cases, the ones that were filed and the ones that we plan on filing, there is no connection whatsoever. They seem to be random, wrong place at the wrong time. I don't want to get into trade secrets, but I will tell you that the robbery homicide unit and these detectives behind me are incredibly skilled at some of the cutting edge technology, and we use technology to locate Aaron Connell. And because of his violence, I mean, clearly he is a serial shooter and a threat not only to the community, but to officers. We contacted our partners at the U.S. Marshals to help with the arrest. He only has a misdemeanor conviction. There's nothing in his criminal history that would indicate that he's prone to violence or has violent tendencies. So far, three cases have been filed, sir, or 3 charges related to 3 separate cases, yes. And we're pursuing or looking into 2 additional cases that occurred here in Pasadena, both of which involve shootings. So we identified him as a person of interest in the homicide of Mickey Cooper. At the time, the arrest was strategic. We had enough to arrest him for the assault with a deadly weapon involving the firearm that occurred at the gas station on November 5th. That was the probable cause that we used to make the arrest and get him off the street to protect the community before he randomly selected someone else to shoot. However, he was quickly identified by the men behind me as the suspect in Mickey's death. He was walking back to his vehicle, a vehicle that was involved in not only the homicide of Mickey Cooper, but other shootings that occurred in Pasadena. And as he made his way back to the car, the U.S. Marshals used an arrest tactic that they like to use, and they took him into custody. He was compliant, did not resist, and the arrest occurred without incident. But I will say that the firearm that we recovered was a loaded semi-automatic firearm, and it was in the vehicle at the time of his arrest.
Where is he being held?
Excuse me?
Where is he being held?
The LA County Jail, sir. I don't know which exact facility, but he's with the Sheriff's Department at this point. His arraignment was scheduled for yesterday. I don't have updated information if he made the arraignment. I don't have that with me, but I can find that out if that's something you're interested in. He is not affiliated or a member of any criminal street gang. I hope they punish him to the fullest extent of the law. I've been doing homicide a long time, almost 17 years, and usually, not in all cases, but usually there's a motive, whether it's gang related, whether robbery is the motive, or some type of theft, emotions if it's a family disturbance. But in this case, we found none of those. And so one can simply deduce that if there's no other motive explaining why you're driving around this city shooting people and killing people, the only thing that I can deduce is that you're just diabolically evil. There's nothing else to explain that. So that's the conclusion that we've come up with so far. No, sir, he acted alone in all the shootings. I do want to add, because I forgot to mention them, but I do want to thank, once again, Frank Carrillo and the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division for their assistance in this case. They're truly partners, and we consider them family, and so we do appreciate LAPD Robbery Homicide for, again, helping us out. It's much appreciated.
Once again, our condolences to Michael Cooper and his family. But again, let's take a moment to reflect the Pasadena Police Department, the Pasadena police officers. You know, hopefully no one is thinking of committing a similar crime or any other crime here in the city of Pasadena, because if they do, you can see that the Pasadena Police Department will employ partnerships with regional agencies such as the LAPD, the LA County Sheriffs, the Marshals, and importantly, we will employ all needed technology to ensure that any perpetrator of a crime is brought to justice. Thank you. So the town hall meeting will be Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. This coming Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And what we intend to communicate to residents is that we have a top-notch police department, and that police department will employ and is employing the best technology and the latest technology and to ensure that any perpetrator of a crime and all perpetrators of crimes are brought to justice. You know, the men and women of the Pasadena Police Department, as you can see, are dedicated. They're a formative group, but it also takes technology to be able to bring these perpetrators to justice.
Sure. In particular, as the council member for District 5 and where Washington Park is located, we want to focus on the park itself and things we can do to make it safer at night. During the day, it's a very safe park. Families are there. Lots of folks are there. On the day of the October 29th shooting, earlier that day, I was holding an office hours in the park. There were kids playing, people barbecuing, playing music. It's a safe place to be, but in the evening, it turns into something else. And, you know, frankly, the neighbors have been terrorized by what's been going on at night. So we're going to focus on what we can do to make the park safer at all hours of the day. Sure. I mean, kind of the things that you can look at, improving lighting. It's a very dark park. If you know where it is, it's sunken down from the street level. We can look at improving security cameras. Right now, a new community house is being constructed. It's almost ready to open. It has cameras on it. We can look at expanding that potentially, improving or increasing the number of patrols or security. There's a whole host of things we can look at, increasing the number of programming that we have going on at the park, which we're excited to do. Again, that once the community house is open, that's going to be more possible. We'll have a lot more things going on in the park during the day. Well, all these incidents over the past several weeks have happened at night. So during the day, things have been fine, but there's been these shootings, and unfortunately 2 folks were hit, 1 killed in the evening. Sure, I'm not familiar with those stats. I know historically things have been getting better over time. But no, I feel like as a council member of this district, it is a specific issue that we want to address, the nighttime issues, things that during the daytime have improved significantly over the past several years and beyond.
Yeah, and I think we can answer those stat questions at the meeting for sure.
Again, we're here to look at the results of this particular investigation, and some of the questions can be answered at a later time. As far as the statistics are concerned, I'm not sure where those numbers are coming from, but violent crime is down in the city of Pasadena. We'll validate that to the folks of the media and the members of the public at a later date. But are there any additional questions about this particular case? All right, we thank you guys. We appreciate you being out here. And again, our best to Mr. Cooper and his family. Thank you.